Oh, hello. In today's video, we're going to talk about the fact that Kill Team Tomb World is going up for pre-order on Saturday. Interesting. So let's recap what we actually get in our box when we buy Kill Team Tomb World. You get 10 Death Watch. Now, as a reminder, it's 5 Death Watch to make a kill team, but there are 11 possible operatives, so you have to choose which one to not build. Although I'm hopeful, the Marines, they're chunky, and 2 of the operatives are essentially gunner with the choice of guns. They've just given the 2 different choices of guns different names. So I'm hopeful that you can with some small magnets. Assuming that you never want both of them at the same time. We'll see when the rules come out, right? But I'm hopeful we can get around that 11th operative problem. Then we've got a very unique 8-man Necron kill team, which, if memory serves, is like 5 infinitely respawning wraithy looking things, 2 big beetly looking things, and a new kind of a cryptek. And then we get the Tomb World kill zone itself, which they've said is going to be 16 walls and 16 pillars, 2 wall ends, 1 sarcophagus, 2 teleport pads, 4 debris pieces, and then a game board to put it on. I'm pretty hopeful that they haven't listed out like 16 fiddly little caps for putting on top of things. So, you know, hopefully this is going to be less of a pain in the backside to put together than Into the Dark was, but time will tell with that one. And we also get 10 Necron Warriors and 2 Scarab bases. If you ever bought a box of Necron Warriors, you'll know that they are packaged with the 2 Scarab bases integrally on the sprue, which is why they are there. That's for your narrative missions. And then we get a Kill Team dossier. That's a little softback book, very collectible. Put it on the shelf. Tokens and Kaloo data cards. So specifically called out in the text of the article because in the previous preview there was no picture, no mention of data cards, and I flagged it up in my last video and I said, oh, are we not getting the data cards? We are getting the data cards for the 2 kill teams. It's great. I actually love using the data cards in kill team. They are overpriced when you buy them separately, and honestly, one of the biggest draws to me of getting these big boxes is knowing that I will have those data cards as and when I like them. I can already taste the comments. Some people are like, just use app. Yes, absolutely. Just use app. If that's what you prefer to do, then it's there for you, 110%. But I like the cards, and I think in the spirit of giving out the information, it's good to know that the cards are in the box, and so we can factor that in when we talk about value. And then it does mention, I only mention it here, it mentions separately in the article that there are 2 world event cards for narrative play, so we're definitely getting both the data cards and separate 2 world narrative cards. And then, shockingly, we know the price, or at least Andy over at Glass Half Dead, if you're not subscribed to Glass Half Dead and you are watching me, then you are from a sliver of the Venn diagram that is so small that I'm not sure that you exist. But just in case that you aren't aware, he's been doing Kill Team content since like the start of Kill Team 2018. He's pretty well the reason that I have a channel at all because he did stuff and he did a video years ago and he was like, more people should do Kill Team, so here I am. And he has been told the price is £155. I'm sure, believe him. I'm just putting it there because I haven't. In the slim chance that turns out not to be true, I am shouldering none of the blame because I haven't seen sight of the actual price list. The way this used to work, just for people who are interested in a bit of Games Workshop behind the scenes stuff, they obviously communicate their prices to the friendly local gaming stores. So the Element Games is, the Dark Spheres, the Wailing Games of the world, places that are not Warhammer stores, have the RRP communicated to them in advance of pre-order day so they can set up their website back end and organize what they're doing. It used to be that that spreadsheet was available on a public-facing piece of the Games Workshop website if you knew where it was, and it used to be that if you were vaguely in the know, you could get the prices on the Monday following the pre-order announcement, which is today. That has not been the case for I think 6 to 8 months, right? So I do not have a friendly local gaming store owner who gives me sight of the prices. I'm just assuming that Andy does, or someone on his Discord does, or something like that. But that is usually where these come from. But it is the Monday after the pre-order announcement, so it is the day when you'd expect the prices to be out there. 155 is really interesting because this would make this the most expensive Kill Team box. It is £10 more expensive than Hivestorm. Now, it contains about the same amount of stuff as Hivestorm, insofar as you're not getting a core book and you're not getting the equipment, but you are getting the data cards. And we remember Hivestorm didn't contain the data cards. So I'm happy viewing the products as more or less equivalent, but I don't totally understand the people out there that go, well, Phil, for me, the data cards have no value because they're going in the trash. For me, the Necron Warriors have no value; they're going in the trash. And I think that the Necron Killzone has less value than Volcus, and arguably it does have less value than Volcus. I totally see that because the two world kill zone is inherently transitory, right? In the sense that you'll play Kill Team on it for 3 years, and then when it gets rotated out in 3 years' time or 6 years' time, whatever happens. But the point is, it only really has a lot of use within this game unless you go do something really interesting with it. Whereas Volcus is better value, sure, because it is some generic 40k buildings. You can use it in 40k, Horus Heresy, and whatever iteration of some kind of tabletop war game set in the 41st millennium, of which there'll be some kind on which you can use that terrain for ever. So I grant you that. So it's £10 more, probably for a smidge less. I've talked myself around. But you're getting 10 Deathwatch Space Marines. We'll talk a little bit later about what's on those. They've recently put an article where they show the sprues. Very involved kit. I think ultimately when they're released, they are going to be released in squads of 5, probably for about 40 quid. And so that's the reason. In fact, we're getting 10 in the Kill Team box is probably why the price has sneaked up a little bit there. Plus, inflation, cost of living, Brexit, Donald Trump, whatever else we're blaming price rises on. Prices go up, right, faster than you pay. That's just the way the world is, unfortunately. We also got the release, the news that the last boxes, terrain and cards, teams and cards, terrain as well, but we'll come to that later. The teams and the cards are also coming out. This has been the case for a while now, that like clockwork, the teams from the last edition, from the last box, and the cards from the last box have gone up for pre-order on the same day as the next box. So it's very predictable. You kind of understand if you buy the big box, everything in, you understand exactly how much of the value proposition is I'm getting this early, how much of the value proposition is I'm not paying for the cards, how much of the value proposition is any savings beyond that. Shamefully for me, I have a copy of Kill Team Typhon that neither of us in our house has done anything with. Right? So I have squandered the portion of value that was getting it early. Although, personally, if I do want to play Battleclade, I'll want the cards. If my wife wants to actually play with the Ravenous, she'll want the cards. So I still see the value there, but it is a moment of reflection. Just because I have a YouTube channel and I'm on it when I actually buy all of these big Kill Team boxes as they come up, unless you know that you're excited to rush and get one of the teams to the table, maybe wait. Now, sure, for this box it's different. I'm fundamentally mainly buying it because I want to have a look at the new Tomb World Kill Team. Right, that's the big draw for me, is to put my Plague Marines in Tomb World and hope that re-energizes my love for playing Kill Team at home around my kitchen table a little bit, which is all going to hinge on if me and Zimbad can be bothered putting the Tomb World together, if it's a bit easier to put together as compared to Into the Dark, because that was we just didn't play it at home at my house or at his house very often because neither of us could be bothered building it after a hard day at the office, We're also getting the Tyranid Terrain set. Necron's on the brain. The Tyranid Terrain set from the previous release, which I know is probably going to make some 40k players very happy. If you play Tyranids in 40k, you know, just shoving a bit of this stuff onto your otherwise like generic Imperial themed 40k table is really going to amp up the narrative, the feeling, the cinematic feeling for your game. So I can totally understand a lot of people who play Tyranids in 40k who enjoy the cinema of the Tyranid invasion, right, are going to want to pick this up because it looks really cool for that purpose. One thing Andy said in his video is that he doesn't know the price for this set, which tells me, right, with the way things used to work, certainly, that if he's had sight of the piece of paper that I think he's had sight of, and this isn't on it, QED, this is going to be a direct sale item. So it's going to be from Games Workshop web store only, and therefore it's probably just going to be the sprue in a plain white box, and it's probably going to be a relatively limited run in exactly the same way as the terrain from Brutal and Cunning. Now, the terrain from Brutal and Cunning you can still buy, right? So something being a limited run doesn't mean that it's going to sell out really quickly, but it might, and I do think that when it's gone, whenever that may be, it will be gone. They usually don't bother to replenish the stocks of these things. Some of them go quickly, some of them don't go very fast at all, depending on how desirable they turn out to be. I can see this being more desirable than Brutal and Cunning, because like I said, the Brutal and Cunning terrain was really only of interest to people who already have Volcus, right? And who either want to play the narrative missions. Well, no, because anybody who wants to play the narrative missions would need the book, you see. So it's really only in people who have Volcus and want to expand it to use it in 40k, but I think this is going to be more popular than the Brutal and Cunning stuff, for sure. We also got news about some 40k repacks. 2 kill teams getting repacked for 40k, and by repacked I just mean they're getting taken out of their kill team box, they're getting put into a box with 40k branding, and then we'll lose the kill team token sheet. They might see a price drop because of the absence of kill team tokens. They might not. Who knows? Now, just quickly to talk about these Orcs, Commandos. They were just 2 brand new sprues when they first came out, everything mixed together. They're just coming as is. Novitiates were a brand new kit, but they were sprued out, like 2 main sprues and an upgrade sprue. We've seen from the picture of Warcom, they are keeping the upgrade sprue, okay? Now, there's been some head scratching at this because people go like, oh, but they don't use all these weird weapons. Well, they use some of them, okay? So the simulacrum, that is to say, the sort of shrine-looking thing on a stick, that has rules in 40k. And I know someone's going to say I'm confused because there's also, that you never see if you only play Kill Team, there's also a cloth banner that's on the main sprue, right? Understand that in 40k, the cloth banner and the simulacrum are 2 separate unit upgrades, and the squad can have both. Therefore, they both need to be there, okay? For those of you that have never actually held this squad and only play Kill Team, you might be amused to learn that there's another specialist that you never see, because ironically, even though there's all this Kill Team stuff that doesn't have rules in 40k, like the cup and the mace and the whips, right? There's also a cloth banner who has rules in 40k and not in Kill Team. Madness. Really nice little banner model as well, actually. I would also say the second flamer is on the little upgrade sprue. And in 40k, you can have all auto guns or all combat weapons and 2 flamers. So again, they needed the upgrade sprue for that second flamer. So there's that. Briefly to recap where we are with the other plastic from the sort of first season of Kill Team that's being retired. So Krieg already had their repack. That's been out for ages since the new Guard Codex launched. You can buy a squad of Krieg. They lost their upgrade sprue. The upgrade sprue was lost to the mists of time. The Pathfinder upgrade sprue is apparently in the Tau Combat Patrol box and nowhere else. Who knew? Star Striders had their repack ages ago into 40k branded packaging. Gallowpox infected are gone, you can't buy them, there's no sign they're going to return. Some people keep saying, oh, maybe they'll come back even when. This is cope, they're never coming back. Legionaries. Legionaries are slightly interesting. Their upgrade sprue has gone. Now, listen, Legionaries didn't get a repack because Legionaries were an existing kit. They got an upgrade sprue, they got a kill team box. Now you can't buy the kill team box, the upgrade sprue is gone, but in the interim, they put rules in the Chaos Codex for 40k for the you can give somebody the heavy close combat weapon, you can give somebody the extra heavy weapon, the Reaper chain cannon, not Reaper chain cannon, the auto cannon type thing, right? And you can give somebody the heavy the chain axe, right? So that's a weird one. If you are starting a 40k Chaos Space Marine army, first of all, probably a bad idea. Who starts 40k in 2025? But if you are, note that you won't be able to get the plastic pieces for some of the upgrades for the legionaries that are in the codex right now, because that frame has disappeared. I would just expect, probably, honestly, those extra rules are going to disappear in the next codex. Right. Phobos, again, they were a squad that got an upgrade frame. Their upgrade frame has disappeared. Their upgrade frame doesn't have any rules attached to it, though, so fine. Corsairs are the weirdest one. They've disappeared. They were a brand new squad. They are a unit in 40k in the Eldar Codex, so I kind of expect the Corsair box will get a release next week, right? And they're just staggering them a little bit. The Blooded, weirdly, you can still buy them as a kill team. They're still available for sale. I don't think they're getting a reprieve and not being rotated out of kill team. I wonder if there's a desire within Games Workshop to keep that Traitor Ogryns available for a little longer. My feeling would be kits like the Blooded are really popular with people who play in the Games Workshop IP, but not Games Workshop games. So like Inquisitor 28, stuff like that. And it contains a few bits and pieces that will skyrocket in value on eBay. That Traitor Ogryn has previously been a very expensive thing to pick up. So it makes sense while they have the boxes to keep that one in stock a little longer. Maybe I'm speculating totally, but maybe that's why that one hasn't sort of disappeared, because they're going, well, look, we know that there's a background desire for these kinds of figures for people. We can't acknowledge them publicly, but we know that they're there. And maybe we'll just keep that one in stock till we've sold out of it. Right. We've also got the sort of weird thing where approved ops appears to have been delayed. So if you remember the approved ops preview article, it said the Kill Team approved ops card pack 2025 will be coming out shortly before the hotly anticipated arrival of Kill Team Tomb World. Well, that's not true anymore, is it? Stay tuned to Warhammer Community for more news soon. So where's it gone? Why has it been delayed? I think the answer is pretty simple. Printed media like this tends to come in by boat. It gets done in China. I know there's been things about GW trying to move some of their printing into the UK, get it printed domestically. But I'm pretty sure paper-only, like card deck products like this, are one of the last things they'll move across, just because of the costs involved. So I imagine the delay is something like that, right? Something related to that kind of messy logistical stuff, I would imagine. But who can tell? I know that when this comes out, it's going to be if you think buying the box we're talking about today, Necron Tomb World, like I do think securing a copy of Necron Tomb World will be slightly challenging. When this deck comes out, it's going to be an absolute cluster show, right? It's going to be tragic trying to get hold of these. Unless Games Workshop really do something differently to what they've done before. There you go. What can we do? How good would it have been if they chucked one of these packs into Tomb World? You know. Right, Sprue Talk. So, this was an article that came out today while I was procrastinating the previous article. This is weird, by the way. They've published 3D renders of their sprues, which are really interesting. They've chosen to publish the 3D renders rather than the photographs. I don't think there's anything superbly interesting to look at on these pictures, but it is interesting. If you go and read the article, they talk about, like, we'd pretty much worked it out on the previous video, but they lay out in their own way. You know, this figure and this figure are obviously the same thing. This figure and this figure are the same thing. This figure and this figure are the same thing. And they show you which figures are built on the same chassis, right? And they show you which three you're going to have to choose between to get your two heavy intercessor fellas. Like, bear in mind, this is just what I would say. This is 3 big frames, right? This is 3 big frames for, and you're getting these 3 frames twice. So it's really, you're going to have so many spare parts because these are the 3 frames that make 5 miniatures, and straight away I'm seeing 6 backpacks. You know, so feels like you're going to be able to build a few extra fellas, right? The one thing you don't get any extras of would obviously be the Deathwatch shoulder pads. Like, if you wanted to make a Deathwatch army, it seems to be very, 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 yeah. There's three down here, yeah, and there's 2 up here. So obviously, certain things they want to get you occupied, but there are going to be loads of extra bits on this sprue for conversions and messing around and things like that. And so one option, if you want that 11th model, you might be able to build it from a Space Marine. If you have a heavy intercessor lying around, I guess, right? If it was a regular Space Marine, then happy days, because you can get those for free. But heavy intercessor slightly less so. But yeah, I don't think we learned too much from the sprues that we didn't already know from kind of seeing the miniatures that we've seen. But what they did then show us is this. I think this is cool. So, for those of you that aren't totally up on the lore of Warhammer 40,000, Deathwatch Space Marines are basically, they go on sabbatical from their chapter to join the Deathwatch for a bit, and they wear their chapter icon on the other shoulder. Now, what's really cool, I think, is they've gone out of their way to put in a whole load of obscure chapter shoulder pads that don't generally get molded shoulder pads. Obviously, if you want Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Ultramarines, etc., you can get those pretty easily from other places. The one that I really wanted to flag out is they've done a sculpted Lamenta shoulder pad. Now, as somebody that hand painted a bunch of Lamenta shoulder pads, I'm a little bit tilted by that. Okay. Part of me kind of wants to get a bunch of these Lamentus shoulder pads and do some more Lamentus. Do you know what? If you see me at a Kill Team event and you have spare Lamentus shoulder pads from your copy of this box, I'd really appreciate that. I'd really appreciate that. Get a whole little squad of Lamentus going. But they're cool. I really like the Lamentus. They are cool dudes. There's a whole list in the article. I know the Iron Snakes are from Aaron Dembski Bowden, not Aaron Dembski Bowden, the other fella, Graham McNeil, not Graham McNeil, the other fella, the really famous one, that did Gaunt's Ghosts. They're from Black Library novels. Gosh, I can't remember anything. 10 people have told me in the comments. Also got the Red Scorpions, who are from Forge World originally, which is pretty cool, and a bunch of others. Like, really cool. Silver Skulls. That is it's the ones that are like demonically possessed and then exorcised or something radical like that. Forgot the name. And you also get a whole bunch of heads, and obviously some of these heads are designed to go with certain ideas of certain legions, and some of them obviously less so. Like this fella here is obviously a Blood Angel / Flesh Terror / Lamenter, right, with his nice Greco-Roman style haircut, but then also fangs. You know, we got Obi-Wan Kenobi up here. I don't know. Space Wolf, top knot fellow, right? But guy with a hood, probably a Dark Angel. You know, but it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And of course, these will all be compatible with other Space Marines, so you can use these with other Marines. You can use other Marine kit heads that you have from your collection in your Death Watch. I think it's pretty cool. Like I think it's really cool the way they've gone to all this extra effort, which is what this is why I think that you're going to get 6 frames in the box. This is why the box is more expensive. And I don't think when they sell the kill team as a separate kill team, they're going to put 6 frames in the kill team box. It's going to be down to 3 frames, and you're going to need to buy 2 boxes if you want 10. That's where I think the money is. Because it's 3 full-size frames, man. Yeah. Please remember, Element Games in the UK, you'll get a good discount Element Games. If you use the link in my description right down there, I get a little bit back as well. Really appreciate that. It is really, like, it trickles in over the months, but it really sometimes generates a significant amount of cash for me when, you know, just 3, 4, 5 people order these big boxes from Element Games. So I really do appreciate that. It is a way that you can support me without actually putting out any of your own money. It's cool. I don't just recommend Element Games because they pay me to recommend them. They genuinely are my absolute favourite place to buy Games Workshop products and also hobby supplies. And they're a great pillar of the community. They've got a great venue there, the Northwest Gaming Centre. They're just really lovely company all the way around. So do use the Element Games link in my description. Now, I will say, you may ask me, it's the usual thing. It's the usual thing. It is easier to make sure you get a box if you order from gamesworkshop.com. Pay that full price. Like 15% on 100, on 100, 100, what are we on? 100, can't remember my own notes. 155? Like, that's not nothing. So, it depends what stock is like. What I usually do, Element Games open there, Warhammer.com open there, get the queue on Warhammer.com, refresh Element Games, try and get the Element Games order for it through. If I miss it, default back to ordering from Games Workshop and paying full price, which I hate to do. But yeah, it might be that kind of situation. Now, upsettingly, on Saturday, I'm going to be away. I'm going to be in Athena Games in Norwich playing Star Wars Shatterpoint. So, Mrs. T.I. has to get the order in. I have faith. I have faith in my wife to order the £155 Kill Team box from Element Games. Use the correct affiliate link, get that discount, get the bag, right? But we'll see. We will see. That's it. That's the video. Are you picking this up? Let me know in the comments. Already know Major Tom isn't because he's really angry about the fact that there's a squad of Necron Warriors in there. So he's going to tell you in the comments that he doesn't like the fact that there's a squad of Necron Warriors in there. Already told me this on Discord. But how are you feeling, everybody else? How are you feeling about the box? Are you picking it up? I am. But then I have a Kill Team. It's a Shatterpoint channel. I have a Kill Team channel. Arguably, it could be argued I have a Kill Team channel. But honestly, I'm picking it up because I want to play in the 2. That's the draw for me. Death Watch are cool. I'd be more excited about the Death Watch if it wasn't for the fact that we know that the Celestians are coming, right? And there's a limit to how much. Like, do I really want to paint up the Death Watch and then get the Celestians and be like, oh, I just did 10 fingers in black power armor? But I will probably get round to doing the Death Watch, right? They'll be up there. But it's the kill zone. It's the bit that I'm really like that. Hopefully that's really good. Hopefully it goes together nicely, and it finally and also the fact that it's a bit more interesting than Into the Dark as well. 'Cause it's got the I think it should both be like mechanically in the real world better than Into the Dark, but also mechanically in the game better than Into the Dark because it's got the debris, right? I think that's interesting. So let me know What do you think about the price? It is the most expensive Kill Team box yet, right? And if you are, I'm not saying I'm rich. I'm just saying that I'm not particularly price sensitive because I make about £90 a month from doing a YouTube channel, and therefore having to spend 150 quid on a Kill Team box every three, it just kind of, it's just what I have to do. I don't get it for free because I'm not a top tier elite YouTuber, but I still kind of feel like I have to get it, and it really is. If I was to turn around and say, "Oh, this one's too expensive," I'm treading a really fine line here, guys, because on the one hand, if I was to turn around and say, "Oh, I'm not picking this one up; it's a bit expensive for me," I think realistically, all the people who are subscribed members of my channel for Kill Team content might reasonably ask, "What the flip, Phil? Like, this is what this is for." On the other hand, is the value there? I'm not 100% sure. I just don't have to think about it. So I'd love to hear your view. I don't want to be accused of being like a Games Workshop hyperman that's just trying to say, don't think about the price, just buy, consume, because that's not actually the vibe that I want to come. Games Workshop don't give me enough free product for that to be the vibe, right? You know? Do all the things. Subscribe, comment, like, consider joining the Discord. A big thank you to all my channel members who make buying this something I don't have to think about too hard, right? Particularly Alex, who's probably, 3 months at the top tier. Well, if it wasn't for the enormous cut that YouTube takes, right, he'd be close to paying for the whole thing himself, I'm sure. But YouTube takes an enormous cut, right? We all just work for YouTube, and actually, this is anyway. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again next time. Cheery, bye. Bye.